Okay, I was sitting up here having my breakfast and, getting ready to write in my diary. And what bothered me was the things that I had to ask forgiveness for. One of the things that I had to ask forgiveness for was, judging the alphabet community. All right? So, I'm sitting here trying to heal myself for judging the alphabet community because every time I go into Tarot Land, or even um, on social media, period, you know, we're faced with all of these um, bisexuals and homosexuals who are telling us not to judge them, but then they're judging the heterosexuals. And I'm like, what the hell is this? What in the hell is this? Right? That the alphabet community has acquired immunity, but they're judging the heterosexual community. And I don't understand that at all, right? When I sit up there and I listen to a person of the alphabet community, right? Talk about, oh, this man, he was done wrong by some woman. It hits me totally different. Why? Because just because looking at things through his perspective, right? Where, in my opinion, first of all, a homosexual person is definitely someone that was violated. Even if, say, a friendship had developed and the friendship, got out of hand. Okay? That it would turn into something that would not only affect them for the rest of their life, but they want to reflect what they experienced to the universe, right? And to me, the reflection comes across as this is a person that's been violated and they love it. To me, that's my definition of a masochist. Okay? A masochist that encountered a sadist, and they thought they was in bliss harmony. Okay? That's why I said when I listen to, say, a person in the alphabet community, giving counsel on heterosexual relationships, I'm like, where are you getting your experience from? What do you know? What do you have that gave you the authority, to judge heterosexual relationships? And I watched a lot of their tarot reads where, I'm like, okay, are you, I have to ask myself, are you talking about, the alphabet community, or are you talking about the heterosexual community? Because the two are not the same. Even if you wanted to blend them together, they would still not be, they would still not have the same values, right? Because the values of heterosexual relationships, they're not based off of masochistic and sadistic combination relationships. Although I do see their plight in desiring some type of equality, in wanting companionship that's, respectful, is the same, right? But they will never accept the truth that they were violated and spiritually submitted into a masochistic mentality, the same way that in the heterosexual community, where women are captured into a Stockholm situation where, she has to, love her captor that, has provided room and board, which is her prison. Okay? out here trying to get me a hefty dose of protein. I cooked 2 eggs and I burnt the hot link. I'm drinking a coffee flavored protein shake. I've already did my 30-minute walk, my lightweight exercises, and you know, even though I'm considering going out and, you know, doing deliveries, you know, I'm down to my last amoxicillin pill, and I don't feel like I'm completely well yet. I don't know if it's because I haven't taken it easy. But what I really need to do is now I need to cut the backyard branches before they get too heavy and covered with leaves. And they're already starting to grow long and out of control. So I want to do that today. But it really bothered me because, you know, like I said, I see a lot of, the way I see a lot of homosexuals is I see them as masochists and sadists, right? And this is how they would call themselves masculine and feminine, right? The feminine, that's the masochist, and the masculine, he's the sadist, right? And I don't think it's fair that they would project onto the heterosexual community who is trying to fight against being in a Stockholm relationship with their partner. Especially considering a lot of the sadists, they love the pain. Whereas the people in Stockholm situations, you know, they're trying to get out. Right? Kind of like in that movie Misery, right? Only thing is, they had a woman doing the capturing. Which is probably one of the rarest situations out there where a woman is actually able to capture a man, you know, and you know, debilitate him and disable him, and, you know, and she's, you know, holding him. That's like, if it ever happens, it would be like within the lowest percent. It would be in the lowest percentile of situationships. Now, it's very common amongst men, and maybe that's why they did the movie. Because if they had made the movie and it was that depicting men doing that to women, people would be like, ah, yeah, that's everyday life. Okay? but not so every day when it's a woman captor and she didn't use like seduction or sex or, you know, no, she didn't. You know, nobody would say Kathy Bates is, you know, a seductress. Mm-mm. So that's one of the things that have been really bothering me, right? And then it starts to bother me even further that these same men that was gay for pay, right? Because they wanted power, they wanted somebody to be their homeboy, somebody that they can take hikes with and go to football games and basketball games and do all of these sports and, you know, all of these, you know, adventures that they typically, you know, can't do with women, because women is like, no thank you, right? Because we automatically think, you know, you're going to take us where? You know, even if they promise to bring you back, the chances are, do you really trust that person? Do you trust that person? They might not be able to save themselves, much less save you. Okay? So, we're like, we're not going with you. Right? Because, you know, most of the time when women go with men, we expect them to bring us back. You know, we can't stand a man that, you know, takes us somewhere and can't bring us back. You know, that's why a lot of these women, they end up putting curses on these men, like, what the fuck? Motherfucker, you done took me someplace and you didn't bring me back. And that's why, you know, these men, you know, they know that we can't stand that. That's why some of them, they'll take you someplace and, yeah, they'll abandon you on a highway, on a deserted highway in the middle of the morning. Because they know how you hate being taken someplace and not brought back. Right? And that was like, this kind of reminded me of this video of this elderly woman that I've been watching. I've been following her, right? And she was saying that the scariest thing for her in her older age is for her to get on, you know, public transportation and not be able to find her way back. She's in a foreign country and she only knows a limited amount of the language there. And so she was getting help while she was walking, but she decided to take a bus, and then this bus, you know, came to the end of the line, and she was like, wait a minute, you know, how do I get back? So she tried to ask the bus driver, and the bus driver was like really snooty and snotty and stuff, and wasn't very helpful, and was condemning her, right? Kind of like reprimanding her that, you know, you should not go any place that, you know, you don't know how to get your way back. I know you was wondering what was the point, right? The point is that women, they get reprimanded for going anywhere and not having a way there and a way back. And I'll tell you, the cruelest joke I ever had played on me was going out with a coworker, and when it was time to go, I couldn't find her, and I was looking all over the club, and then they told me that she had taken off with this man, right? And I'm like, oh shit, she could at least have told me that she was going to take off with this man, right? and at least give me the man's name. That way, if something happens to her, I can say, oh yeah, she told me that, she took off with so-and-so, right? But, this lady didn't turn up for work for 2 days. And she played a prank on me, right? She had some of her friends call me asking me where she at. She thought it was funny, right? Pisces, stupid ass bitch, right? Pisces are some of the most wickedest people that think of some of the most diabolical shit pranks to play on people for no reason at all, right? Because she thought she was teaching me a lesson, right? I'm like, oh, okay. Care about you? I don't think so. Not anymore. Because how you gonna teach somebody a lesson not to fucking care about what happens to you? I want to know. So that's what she taught me. And so anyway, she ended up getting fired anyway a couple of weeks after that because, she was just totally irresponsible. Beautiful girl. But, I could see why some men are like, yeah, these women, they crazy. They got something wrong with them, I understand that. Especially when, I would say a lot of the Pisces people that I have encountered had did some diabolical things, right? I had went out with this other Pisces guy. I usually don't even date Pisces, right? But this guy had me laughing like crazy. Had me laughing, right? I thought he was a comedian. So anyway, this motherfucker ended up, having planned a surprise, date. And, it was very entertaining. He drank way too much, right? So at the end of our meal, we spent like 3 hours at this restaurant, and had a lot of leftovers. We bagged that to go, and he had picked me up at my car, because he wanted us to, ride together. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it would be kind of fun, listening to his jokes and stuff. And he was like, no problem, I'll get you back to your car. Yeah, and this motherfucker ended up putting me out on the highway in the middle of the night, right, at 1 o'clock in the morning, where they had no phone service at that time. They had no taxi service. They didn't do Uber at the time. And I'm telling you, I had to walk and try to beg for mercy, from a passerby, just to get to civilization. It was horrible. And this was a Pisces man, and the reason why it ended up being like this is because afterwards, I didn't like how much he drank, right? And, I'm not a person that, I don't want to lay down with a drunk. If I'm going to lay down, I want you to be sober. I want us both to be sober, right? So we know just what it is we doing and what we got going on, okay? That's how I feel. Sloppy drunk and and mingling, it's not for me. It's not for me. And most of the men, all my exes could probably tell you, no, we can drink and have a good time, but we're not gonna have sex. I don't want you that way. I want the pure you. The pure you, I said. So, this guy was sloppy drunk, and, and he had spent like about $250 at the restaurant. He must have spent about $150 in the alcohol bottles that he had in the back seat of his car. And then he has spent some money on some rinky-dink motel room. And I'm like, oh, this is my surprise? You should have ran this by me first. Right? So then he wanted me to pay him for the bullshit that he pulled. Like, no, I might give you my share of the meal, but all of this other surprise shit, I didn't plan none of that. That was supposed to be my surprise, and now you want me to pay for it? He got so mad that he put me out on the middle of the highway at one something in the morning, because it wasn't going to happen the way he thought it was going to happen. Because he thought, for sure, after all of that, I was going to end up having sex with him because he had a room and everything. Like, motherfucker, you don't know me. But he felt entitled. He felt like if he made an effort, a grand effort, that this was going to entitle him to somebody's body. But because he didn't know me, he didn't know that, I only have sex with sober people. And I got to be sober too. Right? I love that purity. Right? And if I don't love it, we are not going to be in a relationship. Period. So anyway, which is very interesting because, a lot of the people of the alphabet community, they do spend a lot of time, doing drugs and alcohol and enhancements, to have, sex. Some of them, they want to be high and try to do tantric sex. And it's just like, why are you playing with spirituality like that? Why would you do such a weird thing like that? That's not, it's not to be played with, you dumbass. Anyway, let me go ahead and download this video, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of workout here in the yard, cut down some of these branches, like right here. I got to cut this down, and then I got to cut that down, got to cut that down, yeah, right? Got to do a lot of cutting here. So I will get back with you, okay? Hold on.